Hey everybody, what's going on? My name's Terry. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys and gals are all doing fantastic out there as per usual. So, I make it no secret that I am a huge fan of webcams. Like, I'm the sucker that went out and spent $400 for what you're looking at right here. This is my Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra. I use this in all of my content when I'm sitting down like this here at my desk if I'm not using my main Sony a7 IV. This is the camera that you guys and gals are always seeing on my streams over on Twitch, Kick, YouTube Gaming, my other channel. And I always get compliments because of how good it looks. Like, this has got the biggest sensor, to my knowledge, on the market for a webcam. Nice 1.7 aperture as well, and it's a very sharp camera. And I think the color science they kind of nailed. I really do. And people always get this thing confused with an actual mirrorless camera setup. So whenever I tell them no, it's just a webcam, their jaws basically hit the floor. So I love this thing. I really do. I highly recommend it. But whenever the people over at YOLO Live are like, hey Terry, we have a brand new 4K webcam we think you would love, I said, yeah, go ahead, send it over. They sent me their brand new YoloCam S3, and well, I have some thoughts, because why? Here's a little preview, folks. Again, I got some thoughts, so let's kind of just jump into it here, shall we? Now, everything you're going to see from this point on is, of course, from the YoloCam S3 4K. So, the cool thing that I like about this the most is the autofocus. Now, keep in mind here, folks, my Razer camera does have autofocus, but it's very slow, but it's reliable in the sense that once it finds me, it really does stick on me. But this webcam here is using face detection with phase detection autofocus. It's insane. So what does that mean? Well, essentially, folks, phase detection autofocus is the exact same kind of autofocus that your phone uses and a lot of professional camera bodies out there use. So as soon as something goes in front of this lens, it locks on target, y'all. You see that? And it just works, y'all. I love it. So yeah, back here to my Razer for a second, okay, y'all? Just for a comparison here. Still waiting. Still waiting. Come on. No? Okay. You get the point, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So now it focus hunts. Yeah, y'all see that? Come on. Still? No? Y'all, I give up, I swear. But with that being said, though, folks, let's check out the software, okay? Because in my opinion, that's where this whole thing really shines. Alright folks, so this here is YOLO Live Compose, and this is by far, as at the time of recording here, my favorite webcam software, and we're going to touch on that here in a second, especially for the exposure and for the white balance settings. Y'all, all you other companies out there can learn a few things from this one here, okay? I'm just saying. But up here, just going to go by, one by one here. Graphics settings, horizontal or vertical. Yes, folks. The cool thing about this webcam here is that it's on a magnetized base. So all you have to do if you want to use this here for vertical video, you literally just pick it up like this. It's a very strong magnet, guys. Hook it up like that. I have to hold it on here, otherwise I might fall. And then do 9:16, and just like that, you're posting vertical content to TikTok. Like, how cool is that, right? Y'all, for real, I cannot stress to you how strong that magnet is. Like, you can probably tow a truck with that thing. So that's pretty cool. So with the frame rate here, 25 hertz is for the UK. Same thing for 50 hertz. But 25 and 30 is your 4K resolutions. And then 50 and 60 hertz, it's going to actually flash and go up to 60 frames per second. It's going to punch in a little bit. Let's see, can you zoom out a little bit here with that? No, I guess not. So it looks like, for whatever reason, there's a punch in on 1080p 60 here, but let me close this software back out and I'll load it back in to see if it can, get that wide field of view again here, okay? Okay, so after a restart, it's still punched in, but I want to go on record though and say that switching between 4K and 1080p in OBS Studio doesn't apply this punch-in effect. So if I go back to 30, will it zoom back out? There we go. Okay, yeah. I don't know what that punch-in effect is on here for, but I guess that's fine. It's cool. So for image settings here, I have the sharpness cranked all the way down, contrast settings, saturation, then of course dynamic range as well. I went ahead and just took this all the way down just because I don't like the vignetting that it applies, and frankly it just makes the overall image a lot darker. And for lens correcting shading, I actually have this enabled because again, it is sort of has like this vignetting. So the fact that I just hit that one little checkbox there, or a toggle switch I should say, and it lifts up the shadows, that's really cool. Now for focus, it either has a box that you can just drag around, so as long as something stays in this general area, it will stay in focus. Then of course, face detection, autofocus, this is what I always keep it on. But if you want to have like a little clickable section, you totally could. So now it will focus on that back there, or just anything in this particular part of frame. I would assume so, right? So if I click that like that, there we go. So you actually have to like click it to specify where you wanted to focus at. So like that's really cool, y'all. So I'm gonna go and click back on my face. So now it should be in focus. But again here though, folks, I like to keep it on face detect for obvious reasons. And what I like about it is that it looks like all of these settings are actually saved directly to the camera. So you don't actually need the software running in the background. As soon as you click on face autofocus, it will just save it to the camera and you should be good to go. Now for zoom, it's exactly what it sounds like. So you can zoom all the way in here to 95 millimeters, just like this, and it's still a 1080p image and it's still nice and sharp. But why? I wish I could like, you know, move this around, but maybe you might be able to do that with like with some hotkeys. And you can. So this is where you can, you know, go ahead and make some hotkeys, and I find it hilarious that I'm still, you know, like this here. So if I hit number 1, then number 2, number 3, number 4. What you can do is you can go ahead and go back up here to your settings. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom all the way back out here for obvious reasons. I'm going to go back into settings, hotkeys. I'm going to have this here as 50, 65, 75, then 80. So if I hit number 1, it should go back to the default, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. I wish there was a way to like pan this around to like, you know, move it whenever it's zoomed in. Maybe there was a way to do that and I just didn't see it. Here, let me see. Nope, y'all, I guess not. Maybe they can add that, folks. Like maybe they could add that. Now, y'all, this is where I think, again, this software really shines. Like ridiculously shines here. Okay? So, auto, I think it actually does do a pretty good job. Like so far, this has probably got the best colors I've seen out of box for any webcam that I've ever actually had the pleasure of trying. So that's really cool. But in my humble opinion, if you want to get involved in this stuff, especially if you're already a seasoned videographer, photographer, I would highly recommend you go ahead and go over to manual, and that way there you can really dial in these settings the way that you would like, especially to, you know, match it up to your own lighting in your room or whatever it might be, you know. So white balance is pretty self-explanatory. We have a blue offset, red offset, but this one here though, folks, I think is actually really cool. This here is one that you never actually see, and that is we not only have a contrast and saturation, but we also have a tint setting, so you can go between red and green. This here is a setting that not a lot of other, you know, webcam software that I've actually have tried before in the past has, and the fact that they've included it in here I think is a big leg up on the competition. So truly, thank you for that, y'all. Thank you so much. Now, of course, you have a little, you know, color picker down here that you can get like a look or whatever you might want, but I prefer to do things my way. Now, this AI parameter thing, we'll just see what this here does. Okay, so do you want to start AI parameter tuning? Yes. It says to, you know, keep everybody in the scene stationary here. We'll let this run, do its thing, and we'll see what we can do here, okay? Okay, please select your preferred streaming image brightness. I prefer kind of darker tones, so there's that one there. Okay, I'm still going to prefer that one there. And yeah, I see what they were trying to do with this. I really, really do. But it looks like what that AI thing did is that it took 3 different types of photos, you know, kind of underexposed, proper exposure, then overexposed, and it tried to do an average of those photos to get this look. And you know what? I think maybe if you didn't know what you were doing with your own custom settings, this could probably do it for you. But in my opinion, though, I think the shadows are a little bit too bright. So again here, folks, I would recommend that you actually learn this stuff yourself and have these settings all custom to fit your needs and your environment. Another really cool thing about this software is that, of course, you have your basic white balance, exposure settings, all that stuff there. But there's a really advanced way you can actually do full-on color grading right here in software, which to me is insane. So let's check this out here, shall we? So as you can see, it takes a little screenshot of what's on camera here, right? Which, by the way, looks pretty dapper there if I do say so myself. But either the folks, I digress back here to it. So what you can do here, right, is you can just click on anything you want. So let's say I want to change the color or kind of tweak how this desk here looks, right? So it's going to have a starting color, and then you can actually click to change how you want it to look on camera, which I just find so freaking cool. I think that is one of the coolest things about this software, right? So then if you go ahead and go back up here to your color settings, you should notice it should look a little bit different based off how you changed it. I wonder if I can change up this purple filter here, huh? I'm gonna go back inside of here just real quick. I'm gonna click on my mic filter just like that. I wonder if I can like make it more of a maybe like bluer color, kind of like that there. And sure enough, it worked. That's really neat, guys. That's an awesome feature, but it looked like there was an even more professional one you could do, which I think is just insane to me. Yes. So, oh, whoa. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is like... This is actually insane. Okay, so can I like undo all of this stuff? Original grid, preset grid? Okay, so you can like get into the weeds here with this one here, guys. Okay, so there's that right there. And then you can come in here, you can change the entire hue if you want, change the saturation, the brightness even. Okay, this is gonna look horrible, okay guys? This is gonna look like actually horrible. I just want to see how this applies to the live scene here, okay? Okay, again, this looks horrible, but I wanted to give you guys an extreme example to just show you like what you can do directly in software. If you take your time and really like go in there and pick out the colors you want to change to get your scene to look exactly how you want it to, that gives you the kind of flexibility to do literally anything you want. So if you want to, again, just straight up color grade on here, you totally could. That is insane to me. And of course, folks, just like a lot of other software out there, whenever you get your scene looking exactly how you want it to save it, all you have to do is go up here and hit Save Scene. I'm going to call this one here Terry Does Tech 2. Confirm that. And then whenever you go to Scene right here, you can see all the, you know, other presets that I've made while I was trying out this software. And you can save them and they get loaded to the camera and you're good to go. All right, folks, and now that I'm actually using the camera again back here inside of OBS Studio, I just want to see if 1080p does that zoom in thing here, okay? So I'm going to do this here. Okay, no, it doesn't. Of course, it gets smaller, but I mean, like, that's, you know, obvious. So yeah, it doesn't do that punching thing. So that's a little weird. So I'm going to just go back in here, set this here back to 4K. And just like that, I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to transform, fit to screen. There we go. Now, if 4K 30 isn't what you want to do, you mainly want to use this here for like gameplay videos and you want 60 frames per second, good news, you can set this here to 1080p at 60 frames per second, but because this here is a talking head style video, I'm still using 4K at 30 frames per second. But you might be asking, hey Terry, you know, this thing is advertised as offering 4K 30 totally uncompressed over USB-C, and it does here, folks. I'll show you right now here. Okay, I'm gonna go to desktop capture. I'm gonna pull up the properties here. Now, as you can see here, folks, I actually am using an uncompressed video format NV12. But I will admit though, I would like to have seen maybe YUY2 but for even an even more uncompressed option. But in my opinion though, folks, I think NV12 is actually a good middle ground. And even if you want to use a compressed format like MJPEG, in my opinion, I think MJPEG looks just as sharp. But I will say one thing here though, folks, you might even be able to see it right here on the little preview screen here, is that I believe MJPEG, the frame rate is a little bit more consistent and a little bit smoother at 30 frames per second than NV12. And there's also some color shift there. As you can probably notice, NV12, it's a lot more punchy, a lot more contrasty. I'm not exactly sure why. It's probably got to do with the compression that they're using for MJPEG, but I mean, and the frame rate seems to be okay, but we're going to just switch back here to MJPEG. In my opinion, I think MJPEG looks a little bit smoother, but that's just me. Now, I know what you guys and gals might be thinking. Terry, you know, you're talking this thing up a lot. Like, there has to be some bad thing about it. Like, it can't all be, you know, sunshine and rainbows, right? And to be brutally honest with you guys and gals, I was actually looking for something to nitpick about with this camera. It looks great. The software, in my opinion, is phenomenal. Autofocus, amazing. Pretty dang good color science. I mean, I think it looks, like, color-wise, very good as well, especially with my own custom, you know, settings here and everything, right? Well, there is one thing I will say about it. There is one thing I will say that I really wish they would consider fixing here. Or not necessarily fixing, but just like, you know, adding an option to it, right? Whenever I first set this up about a week or so ago, whenever I got it in the mail, I, you know, fired it up, plugged it in, installed the software, updated the firmware, which, oh, by the way, went flawlessly, had no problems with that whatsoever. But, you know, I changed up my color settings to what you see now, and I got distracted, and I left the camera plugged in the whole time. And you might be saying to yourself, well, Terry, it's a webcam. It should be plugged in all the time, and that way there, whenever you want to stream or make videos, it's ready to go. Well, here's the thing, y'all. I saw no place in software to have this thing auto shut off. So I got distracted, went and ran errands for about 7 hours, came back home. This webcam was still plugged into my PC and not only on, but was actively kind of warm. But the good news, though, is that I didn't actually have to worry about it overheating, because one of the big selling points for this camera is that the body of this thing, it's metal. So any heat this thing might get off, the camera body itself, it does in fact act like a heat sink to dissipate the heat in the surrounding air. So the camera was not damaged. It wasn't, you know, ridiculously hot, but it was definitely warm. But that just goes to show that having a metal body for a webcam is actually a good thing. So if I could offer, you know, YoloLive maybe some advice on here, maybe like a little feature request, and I'm going to actually reach out to them via email about it as well too. Maybe have somewhere in software that you could check that, hey, if the webcam hasn't received, you know, a, you know, probe or something for like, hey, I want to use you in software of some kind, auto shut off after like maybe 10, 15 seconds. And whenever you know, restart up a piece of software that uses the webcam like OBS Studio, OBS will then, of course, ask for the webcam, and then, of course, it can turn on. Because they even do advertise this camera as being perfect for 24-hour streams because, of course, the metal body, it does act like a heatsink. But frankly, y'all, I just don't want to have to unplug my webcam every single time I'm done using it. Like, I would like it to go to sleep. I would like it to turn itself off. And again, as of right now, I haven't seen a way to do that actually in the software. So YoloLive, if you could change that, or add that, I should say, I would greatly appreciate it. But with all of that said and done, though, everybody, if you're not already sold enough on this thing, you're probably asking, well, Terry, how much does this thing cost? Because of how good it looks, all the features, the good software, all that stuff, it probably cost an arm and a leg, right? And I'm going to tell you up front right now, no, it does not. But before I tell you the actual price of this thing here, little quick, recap here of the features here, right? It has a really nice high quality 1/1.3" CMOS sensor with phase detect autofocus. I had to look this up, but apparently the lens on here is not a cheap lens either. It is an f1.85 lens, and I'm really happy to see that, because that's what allows this thing to let a ton of light in to look as good as it does. And again, phase detect autofocus for that nice, snappy, quick autofocus to show off anything you might want to show off on stream or on videos, like what I'm doing right now. What is essentially a professional color grading suite built directly inside of the webcam software, which again, that just blows my mind. Like, what? And last but not least, an all metal body construction that even acts like the camera's own heatsink for those long playthroughs. So how much does all of that cost? Just $200 USD. And I know what you're saying, for a lot of people out there, $200, it could be quite a bit of money. But again, just for some context here, okay, back whenever I first got my Razor camera, this thing was $400, because at the time, they were the first to put a huge sensor inside of a webcam, and to get this level of quality back then, they were the first to do it essentially. So they could have charged $1,000 for this camera, and I bet you some people would have probably still bought it if they wanted a plug and play solution like a webcam to again get this level of quality. But because more and more webcam manufacturers out there are using these high quality 4K sensors, that means they have come down in price for everyone. So that means you can get quality that looks this good with all those features for only $200, which in my opinion is absolutely insane. And you want to know what other webcam is $200 right now? The Elgato Facecam 4K. And we all know what I thought about that. If you want to see the video, links down below, but like I said in that video, I don't recommend it. It's actually horrible. A matter of fact, folks, between you and me, I like this webcam so much, it actually very well might replace my Razor. I've been having some issues with it, and if you've seen it on stream, you know that like every once in a while it likes to freeze. I haven't had any problems whatsoever with this YoloCam. And again, because I always like to show things off on stream, having that really fast autofocus, that is a game changer for me folks, like it really is. So again, YoloLive, thank you so much for sending this thing out to me. I do greatly appreciate it. Thank you for letting me play around with a brand new toy. This thing has officially blown my mind. It's very, very, very good. So, does the YoloCam S3 get the Terry Does Tech seal of approval? Without a shadow of a doubt, yes it does. I highly recommend this thing, and I'm going to keep this thing in my setup, y'all. I like it that much. And yeah, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed the review. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed the video. If you did, please do me a favor, get this video liked, get subscribed to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it, folks. Those 2 steps there helps me out way more than what you know. Thank you so much. But again, though, everybody, as always, my name is Terry. Thanks a lot for coming by, and I'll catch you guys and gals next time.